Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Hussain Qazi, the facilitator for the subject AFM, SBR, FM and the limited portion of the SBL associated with the Kashif Kamran course. Now, this particular session of AFM Talk, you people know very well that AFM Talk, it's actually a platform that's established by me, Hussain Qazi, where we regularly discuss some exam focused discussion to benefit for the students. So, number one, AFM Talk, today's agenda. This is what about the today's agenda. A live practice session with the new professional skills marks. The agenda and the key takeaways of the today's session that we will take one particular question of a topic, adjusted present value. And in fact, it's adjusted present value is one of the topic, one very important topic of the AFM related to advanced investment appraisal. And the scope of the exam for this particular topic, adjusted present value, it's from 25 to 50 marks. But that particular question that I will conduct here, or I will make a session here, that for a 25 marks question, Amberle. So practice session, Amberle, December 2018. And I hope that you people have already that particular question. What is the particular purpose of this for attempting this question? The important thing is that, yes, I will attempt that question where we will cover how technically handle the question of APV, including the drafting techniques, with the new professional marks. So the question is the session is not only about how to handle the calculation, but also about the drafting techniques and the coverage of the professional skill marks. Now, we are going to start our session by reading a question of the Amberle. Okay, one moment. Okay, this is the question of Amberle. And if 25 marks question with the section B of AFM, that's well examined by the examiner from September 18 onwards. From September 22 onwards. The requirement portion is something like that. That's A and B part. That's specifically the technical aspects, and also mentioning the professional marks expectation by the examiner. For example, if I'm going to read the question here, the requirement is calculate the adjusted present value APV for the project and conclude whether the project should be accepted or not. 15 marks. So please, it's an important advice. Read the question and the question requirement very carefully. And also, whenever you read the requirement of the question, try to understand the exact requirement of the examiner. Here, 15 marks includes two parts. Number one, calculate, and number two, conclude. conclude have a conclusion with the description, conclusion, the drafting about conclusion, the drafting of the conclusion having a separate marks, and the calculation of APV have separate marks. We will discuss that point here. Discuss the factors which may determine the long-term finance policy which Amberle's board may adopt. The 5 marks. And for all A and B part, you have to apply your professional skills and get the marks that will awarded for demonstration of skills including analysis and evaluation and skepticism here. So with this question, examiner expecting to apply your professional skills, analysis, evaluation, and skepticism. Do remember that 2 important points. There are 4 professional skills marks that you need to apply with the AFM exam. But for section B, examiner never ask the communication matter. But rest of the 3, analysis, evaluation number 1, skepticism number 2, and business acumen number 3. These 3 can be examined in section B part or the section A. But section B, only these 3 aspects of the professional marks will examine. And very important point, in this question, examiner only expecting the analysis and evaluation and skepticism. It's not about anything expecting about the business acumen. We will later on discuss with other question about the business acumen and how these matters will apply. So, can you please all reply me? Are you able to get my voice clearly, my picture, my video? Are you happy with this? Okay, come on. Now, I'm going to read the question. Amberle is a listed company with divisions which manufactures cars, motorbikes, and cycles. You people know that examiner particularly mentioning one very important thing, that a student must also have to aware about the background of the question as well. So initial background of the question, it's very much important. So the background is that Amberle is actually a manufacturer of the manufacturer of car, motorbikes, and cycles. It's about mechanical industry. Over the last few years, Amberle has used mixture of equity and debt for the investment. That's important point. If you are going to write something, that's a mixture of equity and debt finance of the investment. That's important. They use the mixture of equity and debts. However, it is about to make a new investment of 150 million in facilitates to produce electric cars, which it proposes to finance solely by the debt finance. So here in the first paragraph, 3 things important. Number 1, the company actually belongs to a mechanical industry, manufacturers. Number 2, they use the financing, the mixture of debt and equity. Number 3, new investment supported by the finance 100% debts. And if the company use 100% debt, so that means the implication of the arrangement of this finance, the implication for this investment is that the capital structure will change. And this is what about the justification the company must have to use here, the evaluation by APV rather than NPV. APV rather than NPV. Okay, next point. Project related information. Amberle's company's finance director has prepared estimate post-tax cash flows. These are post-tax cash flows of the project using 4 years time horizon together with a realizable value at the end of the 4 years. So post-tax operating cash flows. These are the post-tax operating cash flows. Realizable value, the project having the realizable value. Working capital 6 million, not included, not included in the estimates above, and funded from the retained earnings. Once again, working capital 6 million not included in the estimated above and funded from the retained earnings. Funded from the retained earnings. Here, examiner particular mentioned that the working capital will be available with the internal source of finance. Internal source, retained earnings, working capital. Here, examiner mentioned. So we will not incorporate the working capital in the working capital finance requirement with the new debt finance. So that's a key point. Moreover, that will also be required immediately for the project, rising the predicted rate of inflation each year. Any remaining working capital will release in full at the end of the project. Predicted rate of inflation, these are the inflation rates, quick. Finance director has proposed the following finance package for the new investment. Finance, bank loan, repayable equal annual installments. If examiner mention equal annual installments, so that means that's very important. That means this is the compound interest. This is what about the compound interest. Annual installment means the compound interest. The interest matter will not constant. Over the life project's life, interest payable 8% per year. So this is what about the KD. 8% that is about KD. Moreover, subsidized loan from the government loan scheme over the project life on which interest is payable 3.1%. So very important, KD is 8%. Subsidized rate is 3.1%. And subsidy in percentage, 8 minus 3.1, that's equals to 4.9%. I strongly suggest with respect to the APV topic, whenever you read the question, even with the CB format, you have to highlight and identify all the relevant discount rate at one place. The time will save accordingly. KD 8%, highlight. Subsidy rate 3.1%. The subsidy 4.9%. That's accordingly. Moreover, issue cost of 3% gross proceed will be payable on the subsidized loan. So here, the issue cost of the gross proceed 3%. No issue cost will be payable on the bank loan. And issue costs are not tax allowable. So number one, here the question about the project funded 100% debt finance. Number two, the debt finance is split. That's 150 million splits in two parts. Some of the loan arranged with the normal loan with the 8% KD, 70 million, and remaining 80 from the subsidized loan of the government. That's equals to 3.1%. And the issue cost, 3% of the gross proceed. Issue cost of the 3% of the gross proceed. 3% of the gross proceed related to subsidized loan only. So important point is that issue cost is always relevant. Issue cost is always relevant. But the question is that we need to identify from where we will arrange the issue cost. From where we will arrange the issue cost. I mean, issue cost, whatever the amount of the issue cost, either we will arrange from internal source of finance or external through the debts. If examiner is silent and nothing mentioned from where we can arrange the issue cost, we can take any assumption. So here we are taking assumption that issue cost arrange from internal source for the retained earning like this. Assume that. You can take assumption for the external finance. What's the difference? If you consider that issue cost will arrange from external finance, then you have to that particular amount of issue cost add on with the debt finance. Means you have to add 150 million. But on the other hand, and then calculate the tax shield and all the things. But on the other hand, if you assume that issue cost arranged from internal source, then it's simple. Issue cost will be relevant in all the case, but from internal source means no, that will not affect to the debts, that will not affect to the tax shield, so on. The examiner is silent. You can take with the simple assumptions and make your life easier, make your exam easier. That is the point. Moreover, the financial information of Amberle companies pays tax at an annual rate 30% in the same year. The very important point, highlight point, the same year. Sometimes examiners arrears, sometimes examiners same years. So here the examiner mentioned same year. Moreover, Amberle's company's asset beta is currently estimated 1.14 asset beta. And here the question impression is that the company new investment opportunity with the electrical cars. So here electrical car means the new investment in opportunity with the same industry. So it's not about the diversification. We can call that particular point as expansion. So here we require the asset beta of our own industry, that's automobile or whatever, like car industry. So we can assume that 1.14 is simple asset beta, no complication here to identify the asset beta. The current return of the market estimated 11%, and the risk free is 4%. That's clear, 11 and 4. Moreover, Amberle company chairman has noted that all the company debts, including new debts, will be repayable 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. So this last paragraph, it's most of the time related to another part of the question, means section B. So this is actually about the section B part. Okay, this is what about section B part. Amberle company chairman noted that all of the company's debt, including new debt, will be repayable within 3 to 5 years. So they wanted to withdraw the debts within 3 to 5 years. But how can it possible? He is wondering, they are thinking that whether Amberle company needs to develop long-term financing policy in a broad terms, and how flexible this policy should be. How flexible this policy should be. So actually they are concerned about to develop the financing policy. Develop the financing policy to match to match the repayment schedule. And for this, here the discussion that discuss the factors which may determine for the long-term financing policy which the Amberle company board may adopt. What factor? We are not here to discuss about to developing the long-term policy. No, here for long-term policy and here about the policy related to the debts. What factors need to consider? 5 marks. This is what about the question. So definitely, if you are sitting with the examination hall, if you are sitting with the examination hall, the very important thing is that you have to start your question with a calculation. That is part A. That is something here about the part A. First thing, part A is about calculate adjusted present value. And here, number one, base case NPV. And number two, financing side effects. Financing side effects. So this is what about the basic structure. Now come on. So examiner with the new format structure is very much keen, is very much concerned about student presentation with the spreadsheet. It's very professional. So let's say we have to work out for the base case NPV in a separate manner, financing side effects in a separate manner with the mentioning of the working, and the working structure is in a separate structure. So for example, number one, base case NPV, that is the first point, and the time period of the project 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, the 4 years. No complication related to the tax delays. No complication related to tax delays. So this is what about the base case NPV. For base case NPV, what the working you required, the very first working you required, discount rate, that is KE ungeared. And for KE ungeared, you are here working with capital asset pricing model. May possible that to use examiner asks you the Mortlani Miller proposition 2, but here that's discounted KE ungeared. So very simple. Beta asset is given in the question. How much the beta asset? How much the beta asset? Can you please reply me? How much the beta asset? The beta asset is 1.14. It's simple, 1.14. RF is equal to 4%, and risk premium, that is RF minus RM, sorry, RM minus RF. So 11% minus 4%, that is 7%. So KE ungeared is equal to 4% plus 7% multiplied by 1.14, and that is simple 19 point, sorry, that is 11.98%. 11.98%, that is KE ungeared. Do remember that this is only for the years of working. I strongly suggest that with respect to examination, you just skip all these steps, save your time, and directly work out with this value 11.98. That's simple. Just pick the data from the question. That's 4 plus 7 multiplied by 1.14. That's all, 11.98. Save the time and ignore this mentioning. Just copy paste the data. Just copy paste the data from the question bars. If it's not necessary, that's the wastage of time, rather than just quickly calculate the things. Because examiner will get the thing from whatever you mention here, 11.98. Examiner will check your answer from this bar, from where you have done your working accordingly. So that is the point. Now this is what discounted. Now start working accordingly. One important point here, you need to know that try to maximize the usage of a spreadsheet. I never recommend, even examiner not recommend, to calculate the values through calculator manual. Calculator with your hand, and then put the values here. No, not recommended. Use as maximum as possible the spreadsheet functions. Use spreadsheet functions. That's important. And the document I have shared with you about the professional marks, you have to read that document very carefully. Very carefully. Using of the spreadsheet functions, it's very core, and it's a part of professional marks. That's important. Okay, now the base case NPV. Come on, this is the quick working. Number one, we have to take, it's a very simple question about the calculations. That is about the this is post-tax operating cash flows. Operating post-tax quickly. What are these? Post-tax operating cash flows. 28.5, 36.7, 44.4, and 50.9 operating cash flows. Okay, these are post-tax. That's a tax matter all incorporated. Now the another one, working capital. The working capital. So here you have to mention the working capital, working number 3, sorry, working 2, that is total and incremental. It's very basic. That is a very basic. And in fact, these are related to F9 based on F9 working. So what is about the working capital? Working capital immediately required 6 million and rising by predicted rate of inflation. This is inflation. So number one, immediate 6 million, then 8% is equal to 1.08, 6.48 is equal to, then 6% multiplied by 1.06, then 5%, 4%. Okay, so this is total. Now incremental is equal to this 6 minus 6.48. Total required 6, year 1. Total required 6.48, year 1. Already 6, so incremental 0.48. 6.48 minus 6.87 is equal to 6.87 minus 7.21 is equal to 7.21 minus 7.5. This is what about the incremental. And now we have to incorporate. Control C, Control V. Can you please reply me? Is there any problem till now? It's very simple and basic aspect. And in fact, we will discuss this. We have to cover the calculation aspect as quick as possible because drafting technique with professional marks, that's another key point. I will appreciate if you reply me. Okay, I'm sorry. One of the show here, A0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the fourth, all working capital will recover. That is 0. Sorry, I'm sorry. That is 0. Because it's mentioned with the question. Any remaining working capital will be released in the full at the end of the project. Okay, done. I've done it. 7.21. So I hope all clear till now. Okay, the next point is that the investment required minus 150. And do remember that this is investment side. So this is 150. And the investment realizable value that is 45. And this is what about the net cash flows? This is what about the net cash flows? Okay, yes. Control C, Control V. This is what about the net cash flows value. Your net cash flows discount rate KE ungeared, and you have already done, is equal to, and that is 11.98. That is 11.98. So now the base case NPV. So how to calculate the base case NPV is equal to NPV 11.98%, comma, present value future cash flows plus 156, and that is 5.07. That is 5.07. Do remember the very important point, exam with the professional marks, using shortcuts and the spreadsheet functions, using this function to calculate the base case NPV. It's a part of the professional marks. Professional marks includes the usage of spreadsheet functions smartly. Are you getting the point? Can you please apply me? The spreadsheet function, it's a key component. That's very important, especially for the professional marks matter. And this is what base case NPV. So with respect to the base case NPV, here we can say that the project, it's not financially viable. With respect to the operating cash flows, the projects are not financially viable. Now, the another point is financing side effects. The another point is financing side effects. The another point is financing side effects.
Okay, now it's time for the financing side effects. About the financing side effects, you have to sort out the things first, no? Just write down the things accordingly. The financing side effects. Number one, the issue cost. Number two, tax shield. Here, tax shield based on two things. Number one, subsidized loan. Tax shield. Bank loan. Then value of subsidized loan. These are the points, one by one. Working three. Come on. Working three. Issue cost. Come on, are you with me? You must be very much energetic, must be very much motivated. The question related to the new scheme, although this is a part of the calculation, but after some minutes we will discuss how to handle the complete professional marks matter here. Come on. About the issue cost. So the very first thing here, issue cost, it's about 3% on subsidized loan only. 3% of gross proceed of subsidized loan. Number two, we have taken an assumption the issue cost finance will arrange from internal, it's your wish, internal source of finance, either internal or external. Internal source of finance, that's important now. Another point. Furthermore, now it's time for the issue cost working. What is about the issue cost working? How much to take the issue cost? So issue cost, that is about 80, this 80. And this is about the gross proceed. So we can take the amount accordingly. At year 0 is equal to 80 multiplied by 3%. That's equals to 2.4. That's equals to 2.4. It's very simple. No time value adjustment, because we are assuming here that is that it will incurred by immediately. So issue cost is equal to 2.4, number one. Now the point is about the tax shield. The tax shield. Okay, there's a question about that. Either we need to grossing up this point, grossing up. Actually, the question here mentioned, the issue cost of 3% of the gross proceed. So gross proceed means I have taken an assumption here that this 80 is the gross amount. And furthermore, the very important thing, I have assumed that and mentioned that issue cost is not the part of external source of finance. Issue cost is not the part of external source of finance. Issue cost is not for the external source of finance, it's internal source of finance. So that's why gross amount of the subsidized loan is 80. That's why gross amount is 80. I just taken up 80 into 3%. Even if you gross up the amount, 80 plus something amount, or 80 divided by issue cost, it's 97 into 100. It's also the right of approach, but due to that reason I've mentioned that it should cost arranged from internal source. You just put the value accordingly, 80 into 3%. That's all. Moreover, further question, a very important thing. I am attempting this question with the Excel. But do remember that, I am using only the function of Excel during the class. That's applicable with the spreadsheet. Whatever the function, even the function of the sum, I'm not using the sum function as a shortcut of Excel. I'm using the sum function that's applicable with a spreadsheet only. So here, if I use the NPV function, if I use if I have used the NPV function, that means it's also applicable with the spreadsheet. That is the point. And the last point about the issue cost, yes, we can say that if it's internal source of finance, and if we are working with the gross finance, so just take the gross finance and multiply with a percentage. That's all. This will not be counted as a mistake. Okay. Now the point about the text sheet. Text sheet. Another question. Tax savings from issue cost. In the question, it's mentioned that issue costs are not tax allowable. Issue costs are not tax allowable for tax. That's why we haven't adjusted the tax. Now, working for tax shield, tax shield for subsidized loan. For the subsidized loan. So, number one, for all financing side effects, the discount rate using here cost of debts. You can take another discounted like risk free. So you can take either KD or RF, preferably with the KD, but take any one discounted, and that discount rate will be applicable with all the financing side effects issues. Issue cost assuming at year zero, so not affecting the time value of money, but either subsidized loan, tax shield subsidized loan, tax shield for normal loan, and even for value of subsidized loan. Okay, so one by one, tax shield subsidized loan. So subsidized loan multiply by interest rate multiply by tax rate means X advantage, multiply by discount factor. Here the discount factor, here discount factor, here tax shield, the subsidized loan, year 1 to year 4, 4 years project, year 1 to year 4. So discount rate, discount factor, the KD here 8%, 8%, 4 years, and simple annuity. So you can refer the table, the discount table available with the CB format. Okay, the 8%, 4 years, 8%, 3.312, 3.312, 3.312, 3.312. Yes, here. Okay, so tax shield is equal to how much the subsidized loan? The subsidized loan here, 80 million, multiply by the subsidized interest, subsidized rate interest 3.1%, 3.1% multiply by tax rate 30%, 30% tax rate into 3.312. That is simple 2.464, 2.464, 2.464, 2.464. That's X sheet. Or 2.5. Okay, next point. Now, another point related to the tax shield. And this is what? Working number 4. You have to very much specific about the workings, mentioning the workings. Working 5. Working 5. Yes, that is what about? That is about tax shield related to bank loan. 8% bank loan. 8% bank loan. Yes, come on. So this is what about the 3-step solution. The 3-step solution. Because here 8% bank loan equal installment means with compound interest. With compound interest. So number 1, the first point is that first step you have to know that the first thing is to identify the installment. The installment. The installment per year. And this is what about the equivalent annual cost. Equivalent annual cost is equal to debts divided by annuity. So it's very simple. Is equal to debts. How much the debts here? Bank loan is equal to 70 divided by 3.312. Simple. 21.14. That's a basic concept. Second step. Second step is to identify interest. Sir, why we are doing with these steps? Because here is amount of interest, it's not constant. Amount of interest is not constant in compounding. It's just like it's like a leasing. Each year, whenever you pay the installments amount, the level of interest become change. Balance opening, then interest, then installment, less installment, and balance end. So number 1, how much the balance? That's 80. So interest is equal to 80 into 0.08. Installment minus this amount and is equal to sum. this interest, control C, just drag. Control C, control V is equal to this amount. Is equal to this amount. Is equal to this amount. Very simple. These schedule normally you study with the FR or like this. So what is about the opening balance? Okay, no, sorry. This is about the opening balance. That is 70. Sorry. Okay, no worries. It's simple. It's not the manual working. So our relevant point is this interest. So interest is not relevant. The third step is tax shield. The third step is tax shield. Okay, once again, how to calculate this? First of all, identify the interest. Interest. Interest is not relevant. Number two, tax savings. That with the 30%. Then discount factor. And what is the discount factor here? 8%. And then present value. And then calculate tax saving, tax shield. Can you please apply me? All of you are with me. Is equal to multiply by 0.3 is equal to 1.08 minus is equal to 1.0 control C, control V is equal to 1.68 multiply by this one, control C, control V, and is equal to sum this amount. So this is what about the total? And tax shield 3.74. Can you please apply me? Is that clear, all of you? Are you with me? A very important point, that is about the tax shield related to bank loans. 3.74. 3.74. Yes, that is the point. That's the point. 3.74. 3.74. Okay, come on, come on. Now, last point. Work value of subsidized loan. Working 6. Do remember that value of subsidized loan doesn't mean the tax shield, or I can say the value of subsidized concept is totally different from tax shield. Yes, subsidized loan having two effect. Number one, tax shield. Whenever you pay interest, either with subsidized loan or normal loan, you will get the advantage of tax shield. But the subsidized loan has independent concept. And what is the concept? If through the project we are getting some subsidized loan, so actually the due to the project there are some saving of the interest, and the saving of the interest actually belongs to the project that's deemed to be inflow. Value of subsidized loan, that is AIR 1 to AIR 4. Now very simple. Number one, how much the subsidy? Subsidy is this: 8 minus 3.1, that is 4.9%. 8 minus 3.1, that is 4.9%. So value of subsidy, it's like this: 80, it's a loan, multiplied by 4.9% subsidy, and this 4.9% is actually 8 minus 3.1 is equal to 4.9% multiplied by after tax 70%, because this is the advantage. Before 70%, this is 100%. But if we are getting advantage, the taxable income will increase and we have to pay more tax. So it means the net advantage becomes 70%. And multiply by simple NVT factor 3.312. So this is the complete working. Come on. 80 into 4.9% into 70% multiply by 3.312. That is 9.08. That is 9.08 or 9.09. This is the value. Nine point zero nine. I hope that all clear. Is equal to sum 17.69. That is the financing side effects. Issue cost first, that is minus. That is 12.89. Issue cost first one is minus. Okay, this is the issue cost. So totality, the value become this value. So that is APV 7.82. 7.82, it's the APV. 7.82 is the APV. So that is a point. This is the question. I hope all said with respect to the calculations. This is what about the calculation aspect. Now candidates, the very important thing, need to consider here, the very important thing, how to handle the theoretical aspect. How to handle the theoretical aspect. Now come on. The very important thing, we have to develop a constructive strategy for all the preparation stage of the AFM for the theoretical structure and handling the professional marks as well. Do remember, professional marks is not only about the theory. Professional marks, it's actually apply with the complete structure of the question, including calculation. I strongly suggest all of you, you have to focus my points here. I have to focus my point here. The professional marks is actually awarded all the components of the question, not only the theory. For example, professional marks includes extraction of data from the question, extraction of information from the question, and incorporate with the required evaluation system or structure, that's called APV. Means you have extracted properly the information, you have get and incorporating in a right manner all the data in this structure with the base case NPV, with the financing side effects. If you do that in a right manner, and your presentation aspect is very precise, number one, working in a separate format, step by step workings, number two, number three, using the functions of the spreadsheet properly, so you will be able to get some of the part of the professional marks. Or I can say that this is also the structure of the calculation, and the right calculation working is actually some of the part related to the professional marks, related to analysis and evaluation, specifically to analysis. So first thing, once again, professional marks is actually embedded with all the part of the question, including theory. So first thing, the calculation we have done, we have taken the right data and putting the right data in a right format. So that's the first thing of the professional marks. Number two, we have used the functions of the spreadsheet. We have um, developed an answer in a structured way, in a precise way. So that's, we have done the calculation accordingly, and related to calculation, we have taken, or we have put effort to get the marks of professionals. Now it's time how to handle the theory, number one, and how the professional marks, the matter of the professional marks, incorporate with the theoretical aspect. So the very first thing is that, first of all, we will approach with the A part theoretical aspect related to conclude whether the project should be accepted or not. So actually, out of 15 marks, majority of the marks of calculation we have done, but we have not completed the part A. We have not completed 100% the part A, because the conclusion point having 3 to 4 marks. Conclusion having 3 to 4 marks. So how to write the conclusion, that's the first thing. But before discussing the aspect of conclusion, some important thing I wanted to discuss here. Listen carefully. AFM exam answer, the drafting technique. AFM exam answer, the drafting technique. Drafting, how to draft your answer. The very important thing, whenever something about the theoretical aspect, the very important thing is about plan your answer. Plan your answer, the very first important thing. Plan your answer. And planning for technical skills and planning for professional skills, both are important. So technical skills means the calculation you have done. Technical skills mean the conclusion you wanted to write. Technical means skills means the B part, what factors should be considerable. What factors should be considerable related to long-term financing. That's technical matter. But also plan yourself about the professional skills. Here, examiner expecting the professional skills related to two things: analysis and evaluation. Number two, skepticism. So you have to plan your answer accordingly. Number two, sir, how we will plan our answer? The very important thing, planning having two components. Planning having two components. That is time management and marks management. Do remember, do remember the very important point. You have to be very much committed about the time management. You have to stick with the allocated time. For example, if you are attempting 25 marks question, you have strictly 45 minutes to complete the question. If you are not able to complete the question within 45 minutes, you will not be able to complete your exam. Your passing structure cross with 50. If you attempt 100% paper, brighter chances to qualify the exam. If some of the paper incomplete, for example, if you attempt 92 marks, so your chances become reduces. So the first thing, whenever you enter with the examination hall, so first mindset that I am here to attempt 100% appropriate exam. 100% accurate, not the accurate, 100% appropriate. And for that point, since the start of your studies, you must be stick with the time management. By hook and crook, you have to attempt the question within the time limit and split the requirement. If you are attempting 10 marks question, you know very well the golden rule is that you have 180 minutes. Conscious approach, some cautious approach. Be conscious. 180 minutes. Ignore 15 minutes. 180 minutes. 1.8 minutes each mark. 10 marks question. That means you have 18 minutes. So you have to be very much committed about the time management. And for this, you have to practice the thing accordingly. Whenever you are attempting any past paper, during the preparation, you have to attempt the question with the time management. Switch off your mobile, open your system, shut down the door, start. I have to attempt with the 10 minutes. Practice this. No worries if you are not able to complete the things within 10 minutes. But practice, practice, practice. Number two, planning includes number one, time. Whatever you are attempting, first of all, allocate the time quickly. Number two, marks management. Before attempting the question, before attack, you have to plan for time, you have to plan for marks. Plan for marks means what to write. Think about it before attempt. If any of the student start writing without planning that what to write, he or she actually wasting the time. Marks management means what to write, and plan about the key points. Plan about the key points. Before writing, you have to think. You have to think what to write. Point 1, point 2, point 3. You have to think about it first. Some of the students, some of the human beings, normal plans, make planning by writing something. Like me, whenever I wanted to plan something, I just take a piece of paper. I just take a piece of paper and writing accordingly. Some of the students during the examination plan the things with a scratch card. Some of the students plan, they have an normally I means they have a mindset to plan the things in their mind, not to write anything, just thinking in the manner to uh, uh, click blink some points. No worries about that. Even whatever the method you are using, it's your point, but think about that before attack. Think about that. So time management and marks management, that's important. That's important. Sir, how much time do we need to spend for the plan our answer? I must say 20% time. Out of 3 hours, 15 to 20% time you have to spend for the time management, for the management, sorry, for the planning of the question. How much the time, what to write, plan your answer, then start it. Any student in the examination hall who do that type, this type, who do this, definitely take some time to start the paper. But at the end of the 3 hours, at the end of the exam, he or she will be able to success, or he or she will be able to cross the passing marks easily. The brighter chance to get the success. That's the point. Plan your answer. That's important. Plan your answer. Now the point is that, sir, if we are going towards the theory and theory about the party, can you please apply me? Are you people with me? Theory, that is about the comment and conclusion. That is about 3 marks. First of all, if you are going to write some answer, I have already shared the 2 documents for the professional marks. One video, 2 documents. One video, you can get the video from my YouTube channel, number 1. Number 2, 2 documents, or you can use my own my document accordingly. You have to read that document and watch the video very thoroughly, and at least read the document 4 to 5 times, and regularly refer my document by practicing the question. For example, if examiner expecting if examiner expecting if examiner expecting the professional marks here and say analysis and evaluation. So what actually analysis and evaluation about? So this is about, number 1, appropriate use of data to determine suitable calculation. to appraise the project using APV. Have we already done this? Can you please reply me? Have we already done this? Yes, we have done this. Yes, we have done this. Did suitable calculation to appraise the project using the APV. So this is actually the part of analysis. Now the another some important point. Appropriate use of data. Data means whatever we have done. Calculate financing side effect, calculated the base case NPV, calculated APV, where APV base case NPV negative, financing side effects positive, overall result positive. Appropriate use of data to support discussion and draw appropriate conclusion. Demonstration of reasoned judgment when considering key matters. That is not compulsory. All the things reflect with the conclusion. Demonstrate ability to consider relevant factors, important factors applicable to the Amberle situation. Identification of further analysis could carried out enable appropriate recommendation. Means we have to identify more things. For here, if we are going to make a best decision. So there are some assumptions we have taken with the APV. Some limitation having with the APV. We have to consider more things about the risk and uncertainty. For assumption, for limitation, we wanted to get more information. For risk and uncertainty, we need to get more data to work out accordingly. So further analysis, identification further analysis could be carried out to enable appropriate recommendation to made whether project should be accepted. And appraisal the information objectively to make recommendation. Objectively means analysis of the risk and benefit, not affecting the conclusion. Skepticism, challenge the information, challenge the assumptions. That's carried out for the better decision. Now come on. If I am going to start to write the conclusion of APV, NPV, anywhere in the question, first of all, do remember, I must have to start with interpretation of maths. What I said, I must have to start with the interpretation of maths. I must have to start with the interpretation of the maths. For example, simple, start with this. Base case NPV negative, financing side effects, adding the value 12.82. Conclusively, the APV of the project is 7.73, so the project should be accepted. This is what the interpretation of your maths. And this interpretation basically reflect one part of analysis. Analysis and evaluation. This one, read this. Use the data to support discussion and draw appropriate conclusion. You don't need to mention this one, it's only for your guide. Means if you interpret your maths, that's positive, negatives, overall project accepted it for financial ground, this reflect use of information to support the discussion and appropriate conclusion. That is about the analysis. But your conclusion never stop with the word should be accepted or rejected. Never stop. You have to add on some more thing. Sir, what does that mean? Add on more thing. Do remember, financial management is about something strategy. We are here to make strategy. We are here to make something about future aspects. So any of the person, any of the finance manager presenting this information is actually preparing all the material, the APV, based on the information collected, and it's about future. So if something about future strategy, we must have to use some diplomacy. Although AP, APV positive project should be accepted, but however, these are the wording of diplomacy. These are the professional words. Don't take all the responsibility on your shoulders. Use this diplomacy. What diplomacy? Further analysis may be needed. Although, whatever the information you have given, I've calculated all the things. But further analysis may be needed, particularly of the assumptions which lie behind the post-tax cash flows. How we can the information you have given to me, the post-tax cash flow, how the post cash flows derived, I don't know. Such as sales, such as tax rate, post-tax cash. The background of the post-tax cash flows include sales, including tax rates. What are they? What? How you have taken the tax rates? So next 4 years the tax rates remain same. Furthermore, the realizable value 40 million also questionable. How the project's fourth year value is 45 million? I don't have any information. And furthermore, on the other end, time horizon is 4 years. Seems low. The project is analyzing 4 years. If the time period is 5, 7, 8 years, the more extensive the time periods, the analysis may be more appropriate. So this, however, and further points actually means skepticism. Challenge the assumption taken and information provided. You during your answer, at one side you use the data and conclude your answer. But parallel, you use some diplomacy that challenge the information provided. And then final comments. The risk and uncertainty method also need to consider like sensitivity analysis, like probability analysis, expected values. So this should be undertaken, sensitivity analysis or other method, on all significant variables to get more possibilities, to identify more value information. This is once again the analysis evaluation where identify further analysis to enable more appropriate conclusion. Means identify some gaps. What can we do else? So your exam solution must be in this manner. Candidates, can you please reply me? Can you please specifically reply me what you have learned, whatever you have learned since last 10 minutes? Is this valuable for you? How to draft your answer and how to incorporate the professional skills. If you will not comment me, even you people are watching the video, do contact me through the WhatsApp. Do comment me about the thing. How to handle the drafting. This is the most challenging aspect of the AFM matter. How to handle this. And this is not about, I strongly advise, this is not about only for the last 1 week practice. This is actually you have to embed with your preparation. And regularly assess your performance by getting the feedbacks through your mentors, whatever the teacher, whatever the regular courses you are, if you are taking the lectures. That is the point. Okay, moreover, this is what about the conclusion aspect. Moreover, yes, the point is about, okay, moreover, now the point is that part B, part B, about part B. That is what completed with the part A. And the another point is about